From women who are traded for money and become slaves to their husbands after marriage, to the horrifying mass graves. Here are the untold truths about Cambodia. Cambodia is a country located in Southeast Asia, bordered by Vietnam to the east, Thailand to the west, Laos to the north, and the Gulf of Thailand to the south. Its capital is Phnom Penh, and the country's population is estimated to be around 17 million. Cambodia has an ancient history, with the historic Khmer Empire that ruled much of Southeast Asia from the 9th to the 15th centuries. One of the most important remnants from this period is the famous Angkor Wat temple, which is considered the largest religious structure in the world. However, despite Cambodia's glorious past, the 20th and 21st centuries have been filled with darkness, violence, poverty, and suffering. Now, let's dive into 10 dark facts that have shaped Cambodia's history and modern society. The Pol Pot genocide, the systematic killing of a nation. In 1975, a communist group called the Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot, took control of the country. They aimed to create a purely agrarian and classless society. How? By destroying everything associated with modernity or intellectualism. Schools, hospitals, banks, and even money were banned. People were forcibly relocated from cities to rural areas. Anyone who was literate, wore glasses, or even simply looked intelligent could be killed as an enemy of the people. It's estimated that around 2 million people, nearly 1/4 of the population at the time, were killed during this period. This genocide targeted not only the bodies, but also the soul of a nation. Mass graves, the footprints of death on the land. All around Cambodia, especially near Phnom Penh, there are hundreds of mass burial sites known as the killing fields. At these locations, thousands of people were executed without trial and buried in mass graves. To save on costs, some executions were carried out using sticks, shovels, or even knives, rather than bullets. People were taken away at night, blindfolded, and buried in darkness. Today, these places have become memorials. Visitors may still see bones or clothing emerging from the soil after a rainfall. Tuol Sleng Prison, a death factory. Tuol Sleng Prison, which was formerly a school, was turned into a center for detention, interrogation, and torture by the Pol Pot regime. Known as S-21, over 14,000 people were brought here. Only about 12 survived. The interrogations were brutal. Electric shocks, waterboarding, nail extraction, and psychological torture. People were forced to confess to crimes they didn't commit, just so there'd be evidence to justify their execution. Today, the site has been turned into a painful museum, but its cold, heavy atmosphere is still deeply felt. Landmines, death sleeping beneath the soil. From the Civil War era and Khmer Rouge conflicts, millions of landmines were left buried in Cambodian soil. Many of them are still active, and people, especially children, can be maimed or killed by the slightest misstep. It's estimated that over 60,000 Cambodians have been disabled due to landmines. Organizations like the Halo Trust have been working for years to clear the land, but the job is far from finished. Extreme poverty smiles behind empty tables. Although Cambodia has experienced some economic growth in recent years, over 20% of its population lives below the poverty line. In rural areas, families sometimes survive on just a few dollars per month. Many children don't go to school because they have to work. Medical services in villages are nearly non-existent. Access to clean water or a proper toilet is still a dream for millions. The smiles of the Cambodian people are real, but behind those smiles lie immense hardships. Human trafficking, the nightmare of modern slavery. Cambodia is a critical hotspot for human trafficking. Women and girls from poor villages are kidnapped or deceived and sold to other countries for forced labor or sexual exploitation. Even within Cambodia, children fall victim to the sex tourism industry. Despite international efforts, criminal networks remain active, and many victims are never rescued. Corruption, a disease that has spread everywhere. Cambodia is one of the most corrupt countries in Asia. Reports show that bribery and favoritism are common, from the police and judges to government officials. If you don't have money, justice means nothing. Even a large portion of international aid meant for rebuilding the country has ended up in the pockets of corrupt officials. This widespread corruption has led to deep distrust in politics and the justice system. Suppression of freedoms, the silenced voice of the people. In Cambodia, criticizing the government or the king is a red line. Journalists, bloggers, and even regular social media users can be arrested over a single post. Human rights organizations have repeatedly warned about the state of free speech. The government uses vague laws to silence any opposing voices. Democracy exists in appearance, but in practice, power lies in the hands of a closed circle. Forgotten cultural heritage. Cambodia is a treasure trove of ancient art and architecture, but due to neglect and corruption, many of these cultural assets have been destroyed or stolen. Traffickers have looted religious statues and artifacts from temples and sold them to museums or black markets abroad. Some temples, especially the smaller ones around Angkor Wat, have been left unprotected. Parts of traditional culture are also fading due to poverty and aimless modernization. Environmental destruction. The vanishing rainforests. Cambodia was once filled with rainforests and rich biodiversity, but due to excessive logging and illegal timber extraction, much of these natural resources have been destroyed. Forests have been turned into farms or mines, often without any oversight or planning. Animals like tigers and elephants are now endangered. Ancient trees are easily smuggled, and the profits go straight into the pockets of timber mafias. In many parts of Cambodia, especially in rural areas, women are forced into complete obedience to their husbands. This culture has been ingrained for centuries, and even traditional books like Chubab Srey, a kind of behavioral manual for girls, teach daughters to always be obedient, never raise their voice, and even if abused, to stay silent and patient. In practice, this means thousands of women in Cambodia have no say over their own bodies, work, or even movement. Many are forced into marriage without their consent, or into relationships where the man controls everything. Domestic violence is a widespread issue in Cambodia, but few women dare to report it because the law and police are often indifferent or believe in the same outdated traditions. Women are typically seen as silent companions, caretakers, and mothers. And when someone dares to protest or seek independence, society labels her as disrespectful or even shameless. Now that we've uncovered so many amazing things about Cambodia, what's your impression of this unique country? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing to our channel. And don't miss out. Click on the next video and keep discovering more fascinating stories from around the world.